Hey, welcome everyone. This is Mike from ZoZoStockWatch.com. This is going to be your Let's Get Ready for the week ahead, July 15th through July 19th. And what a busy week ahead we are going to have. Before we get into all that, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you find this video useful, hit that like button down below the video. We greatly appreciate it. We had a dovish Powell push the market to records high. Fed is out of the way. The Dow Jones Friday was up 244 points. The transports also popping on Friday, up 247 points. They were kind of a laggard, but a big burst came into the transports on Friday. The S&P was up plus 14 and the Nasdaq plus 48. So the Dow surged and the market surged after the Fed signals a probable rate cut. As you know or may have known, this past week we did get the Fed chairman Powell. He was in front of Congress and also in front of the Senate. Fed Chair Powell, this coming from the New York Post, is just saying what Trump wants to hear. So President Trump would like lower rate cuts, and Jerome Powell basically very dovish this week and hinting that rate cuts are to come. Also, we had the Dow Jones crosses the 27,000 mark for the first time ever. So that also happened this past week. Let's go ahead and look at the heat map, courtesy of FinViz. You can see some of the action on Friday. Not all the market was green on Friday. We did get some hits in Merck and J&J. We'll go more into that in a little bit. But overall, the FANG names were moving up, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft. Not that it's in the FANG, but the Google was moving up. Netflix was moving up this week. As you can see, it was a pretty broad market rally for Friday. So a very good day for the bulls. Some of your top stories that passed this week, even with Facebook, takes a $5 billion fine in stride. Facebook continued to move up this week. J&J, Johnson & Johnson's did have some negative news. As you can see from the heat map on Friday, it was down 4%. So Johnson & Johnson stock tumbles after reports of criminal probe if they were lying about talcum powder and the risks of cancer there. That was one of your top stories. The Fear and Greed Index currently, this courtesy of CNN Business, currently now at 64. So we're just above the middle of the range here, not extreme greed at the moment. So still more movement up ahead maybe in the markets for the upcoming week. So looking at this Fear and Greed Index, you can see that we're not overbought, not too extreme at the moment. So market could have still more room to the upside based on this gauge. So let's go ahead and look at some of the things that were moving this week. We had JNUG and gold related Nougat up over 9% for the week on both of those instruments. Oil was up almost 5% for the week. So commodities getting a boost this week. USO popping this week up almost 5% on light sweet crude oil WTI ETF there. Oil holding above $60 a barrel, holding above the 200 SMA. The SMH climbed this week. We had a week of plus 3% on the SMH. We've been watching this very closely on our videos. We talked about this 3-stick pullback on our videos. We got back above the 10 SMA and the 5 EMA. Now we have these recent highs here on the SMH up here at 116. So let's see if this is the week that the bulls in the SMH can clear that 116 area. OIH, nice rebound here. Now we've been talking about the OIH for the last few weeks, saying how important that $13 area was, and so we got a nice move up here to about $15 on the OIH. As far as some of the things that were down for the week, the marijuana ETF and marijuana cannabis names took a big hit this week, down 7%. The VIX, more complacency coming into the market as the Fed is out of the way for now. We have a 12 handle on the VIX. If we go ahead and look at the VIX on the weekly, You can see we're well below this 20 gauge here on the VIX and headed right back. We had lows down here around below 10 on the VIX. So I don't know if we're going to get that low on the VIX, but right as you can see, no fear out here in the markets, right back down to about the middle of the range on the VIX. Now, not all markets were up this week. There's concerns about the biotech names. You had J&J taking a hit this week. Also, you have Donald Trump, President Trump, talking about pricing in the biotechs. So that hurting the biotechs. If we go ahead and look at some of the sectors for this week that were down, you can see the first one up here down 1.5% was the XBI, the biotechs. After that, it was the healthcare sector taking a little bit of a hit as once again President Trump and J&J news hitting those sectors. For the week, for the sectors that were up, the XLE, the oil and sector was up. We also had the XHB, home builders moved up this week, up over 1% for the week as the cuts from Jerome Powell were mentioned. And the next meeting for the FOMC will be on the 30th of July. So you'll have the meeting begins on the 30th of July. Now that's a couple of weeks away. And then we do get the announcement on July 31st for the FOMC, and also there'll be a presser that day. So 2 o'clock for July 31st. Now we have a couple of weeks in between before we get there. So let's go ahead and look and see what is coming up for the week ahead. Economically, really, pretty standard, nothing out of the nothing unusual for economic information in this week. We do get the Beige Book coming out on the 17th, Wednesday. Housing starts for Monday. Nothing really. A little bit of Fed speak. John Williams will be speaking on Monday. Then we get some Fed speak on Thursday, the 18th, and we get a couple of Fed speakers this coming Friday on the 19th. This calendar, courtesy of the Trade Exchange. This is their economic calendar. Also, you can, if you click on this, I'll put this down in the comments section of this video. If you click on the green, you can see the earnings coming up for the week ahead. We do have a lot of IPOs coming up for the week ahead. U.S. IPO week ahead. Large foreign fillers and U.S. unicorn lead 10 deal week. So we're supposed to have 10 IPOs come out for the week ahead this week. And here's a listing of those. And I'll put this link also from Renaissance Capital down in the comments section of this video. As far as biotech news coming out, we do get some larger biotech companies reporting earnings this week. J&J will be reporting this week. As far as PDUFA dates, let's see, you have Merck. We'll have a PDUFA date set for July 16th. And that's pretty much it. Not too many on our plate. Mostly biotech IPOs coming out. And you do have some big names as far as earnings. J&J, SEGN, Abbott Labs, ABT symbol there, and in Intuitive Surgical, ISRG, some bigger names. Let's go ahead and look at some of the earnings coming out in other areas for the week ahead. This courtesy of Earnings Whispers. This is some of your bigger names. The Trade Exchange calendar, if you click on that green spot, like I said, you can get some of the smaller companies that report. So Earnings Whisper is a great source. They do the top earnings coming out for the week ahead. So starting off, kicking us off on Monday with the banks is Citigroup, symbol C there. That'll be Monday before the bell. Then we get after the close JB Hunt. Tuesday before the open, you have JP Morgan, JPM, the symbol there, Johnson & Johnson & Johnson, as we mentioned, Tuesday before the bell, also with that negative news that came out on Friday. So that'll be closely watched. Wells Fargo, WFC, Domino's Pizza, Goldman Sachs, another big bank there. You get some railroads reporting on Tuesday, Canadian Pacific before the open Tuesday. CSX will be reporting after the bell on Tuesday. United Airlines in the transport space. Cintas will be reporting. Bank America will be reporting Wednesday before the open. Abbott Labs, as we mentioned. PNC, BNY Mellon, another bank. You get Netflix reporting Wednesday after the bell, the first name in the FANG group to be reporting. eBay reports. IBM, Alcoa will be reporting earnings after the close on Wednesday. Before the bell on Thursday, you get United Healthcare Group, Honeywell, Morgan Stanley, Harley Davidson, HOG, the symbol there before the bell on Thursday. Ally is a bank, finance, so they'll be reporting. Microsoft, Intuit, Surgical will be reporting after the bell on Thursday. Skechers, Chewy, a recent IPO, CHWY, symbol there. E-Trade, Capital One, all reporting after the bell on Thursday. Friday before the open, Cliffs, American Express, Schlumberger, SLB, a member of the OIH, the oil services sector, and BlackRock, another financial before the bell on Friday. This courtesy of Earnings Whisper. So as you can see, earnings season will be kicking off for the weeks and month ahead. As you can see here on our monthly chart from Earnings Whisper. So after this week, we go into Halliburton, and a lot of the other bigger names will be reporting earnings for the month of July. This is another monthly calendar look from them. As far as some of the unusual call activity that we had for the Friday, you had Lennar, unusual call activity. NTNX, once again, this is courtesy of the trade exchange. NTNX, unusual call activity. CCJ, call activity. IOV, Yelp, UXIN was popping on Friday, so they had unusual call activity there. For your put activity, TEN, KMI, SFIX, GLYC, VMC, and Z, all unusual put activity, courtesy of the trade exchange from Friday's action. Some of your top gainers for Friday, courtesy of the trade exchange: Tower, OHRP, MCRN, Hook, TRNX, OASM, UXIN, UPL, RDHL, and DQ, all some top gainers from Friday. Quad U was a top loser on Friday. URG, UEC, ILMN, USX, EMKR, Fred, HIMX, PCG, and IIPR, all your top 10 losers for Friday. Once again, courtesy of the trade exchange, the audio news service throughout the day. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the markets real fast. We'll go through, everything making new all-time record highs. So we are in blue skies territory on a lot of our markets here. As you can see, we even are topping above 300 on the SPY. So a good week for the bulls. Here's the weekly chart of the SPY. Blue skies ahead for the SPY. The QQQ breaking out to new all-time highs, record highs. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the markets that we haven't talked about thus far. The IWM, let's look at it on the daily chart here. So the IWM, still a little bit of a lagging market, not making record highs here, but holding up better. All right, the IWM was a bit of a concern. We did bounce back off of that 150 area. We are holding above the 155 on the IWM. The micro caps, the IWC, trying and battling to get up over and holding above the 200 SMA, has that $94 area up ahead. Recent lows for the IWC, $92.50. Currently, we're holding above that on the IWC. Nice comeback for the bulls in the SMH, as we talked about in the beginning of the video. That pullback, that 4-day pullback, they bounced us, got us back above the 10 SMA. Now we have that 116 area up ahead on the SMH. The IBB, we didn't fare so well in the IBB and the XBI. So those two are a concern. Let's take a look at the XLF and the banking sector. Finally did get above that 28 area on the XLF. As you can see here on the weekly chart, weekly charts are always in blue on my videos. So now we have that $29 area. But if the Fed is going to be lowering rates, we'll have to see how the banks are going to fare. And don't forget, Citi will be kicking off earnings this coming week on Monday. And then we get a lot of bank earnings coming out this week. Bank of America, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. These are all the weeklies. So they have been moving up nicely. Nice rebound in them. We'll have to see how they do when their earnings come out for this week. Let's kind of look at some of the top stocks for the week that passed. So Tower makes the top of our list here, up for the week 62.93%, so 63% on Tower International. Solely the recent IPO tattoo removal stock, this stock jumping 62% for the week on SOLY. ACIA was a takeout by Cisco. The stock jumping 34% for the week. Weight Watchers making a comeback this week, up 24%. They got upgraded to neutral this week, and so maybe the worst is over in Weight Watchers. A big move up 24%. ESTC jumping this week, a recent IPO jumping this week 18%. BKE Buckles, a retailer, bouncing back this week, up 16% for the week. STNE in the internet content software space, this stock jumping 15%. WDC and Micron also climbing this week. WDC in the data storage sector up 14% in sympathy to Micron, which was jumping 13% for the week. STX still a laggard in the group, but on the weekly chart here is improving on STX, maybe trying to play catch up. Keep an eye on that one. We also had Cara jumping this week up 11%, and Square, which we are long, Square in our service at ZoZoStockWatch, jumping 11% for the week on Square. Yeti coming in with a nice push up 10%. In some of the lower price stocks, you had CEI, which is a oil play. This stock recently did a 1 for 25 reverse splitter here on CEI. So that stock was up quite a bit for the week. RVLT is not going to get delisted from the NASDAQ. This stock jumping 62%. FLKS, this one announced the shareholder approved planned merger with Solaris Pharma. So FLKS was jumping this week up 53%. A lot of that came on Thursday and Friday. SGBX also climbing this week, up 42% for the week. Overstock had a very strong week this week, up 29% for the week. WKHS finally broke out on WKHS. This is the electric truck maker. I'll show you that one on the daily chart. So everybody was watching this 330, 325 spot on WKHS, and finally we got that breakout out of that range on this name. So nice job there, and we'll see if there's going to be continuation. Probably one that'll be closely watched for the week ahead. We will be coming out with a watch list of stocks, so that'll be our second video. That'll be out later in the day. As far as some other stocks that were moving up for this week that passed, you had a lot of the healthcare stocks popping this week. Humana, CI here, popping, UNH popping up, and CVS was moving up this week off the bottom. Trump dropping plan to end Medicare rebates. So that's what was getting a lot of these healthcare stocks popping. SLGA, positive data on their phase 3 on SLGL. This stock jumping 15% for the week on that positive phase 3 data. ADVM also announced data from their phase 1. This stock jumping 21% for the week. OHRP proposed a merger with Nubase was approved. So OHRP jumping 46% for the week. Hook. This one had positive news, came out and cleared by the FDA on their phase 1-2 for HOOK, Hookapa. This one jumping 22%. MCRN was an acquisition. This stock jumping 18% for the week. VVPR reported earnings. This stock moving up 14%. Some of your stocks that took hits this week. MLNN. This stock dropping 19%. They updated their 2019 revenue guidance, less than expected there. Merck took a hit this week, down 7%. CSIQ over in the solar space was down 7% this week. OMCL, let's see, we had a hit piece out by short seller Glass House Research, and they put a price target of $33.50 on OMCL, so that stock dropping 21%. ITCI, mixed data on their phase 3 came out, so it was dropping 17% on the name. CVM never could clear that $9 area, so they dropped this one down for the week. That 29% drop in CVM. AMRX, they did a restructuring here, restructuring plan, and cutting a profit forecast on AMRX, stock dropping 44%. EYEN, this came out with an offering, dropping 30% on this name. Lilly, a senior vice president leaving the company here on Lilly, dropping it 4%. J&J, once again, down for the week, 5% for the week there, about 4.5%. The U.S. Justice Department is pursuing a criminal investigation into whether they lied to the public about possible cancer risks in there for talcum powder. So J&J, and once again, J&J has earnings coming out. SFIX took a hit this week, even though Goldman Sachs came out with an upgrade and a buy on this name. No help for this name, down 11% for the week on SFIX. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the cannabis names real fast in the video. So DT had a very good week this week, up 22%. Cara up 11% for the week in the marijuana space. Now, these are some relative strength names because overall in the cannabis pot sector, a lot of stocks were down quite a bit, and I'll show you that in a second. NEPT holding up very well in the cannabis space. XXII was up fractionally for the week to the downside. CTST just got shellacked this week, down 48%. VFF coming in down 20% on this name. YCBD dropping 16% on that name. CGC dropping 15% down this week. APHA, another bigger name, down 9% for the week. And then you had Crone rounding it off, down 7%, and Hexo taking a hit this week, 7%. So that's some of your cannabis names that took a hit for the past. So what are some of the things we have to worry about in the weeks ahead? Well, we still have the China and U.S. Trade talks going on. Peter Navarro says, don't believe China or U.S. Press, calls Wall Street Journal stories garbage. So the talks on China, between China and the United States, continue on. Trump says China is letting us down, not buying U.S. farm products during the trade talks. We also have Deutsche Bank. They're getting rid of to cut 18,000 jobs by 2022. So Deutsche Bank, is this a canary in the coal miner as far as coal mine? Sorry, as far as some of the European banks. So this stock taking a hit, symbol DB there. Keep your eye on this. This could be a story still developing for the weeks ahead. And then, of course, we get stories like this. U.S. consumer debt surges to record highs coming from the New York Post. So this is something that might weigh on the markets in the future. We'll see. We also have the 2020 elections coming up. So all these things are things to keep on our plate. Be aware. But for right now, the markets are making record highs. The Fed is kind of stepping aside. And like I said, their next meeting, July 30th, July 31st, there looks to be a rate cut coming, whether it's going to be a quarter of a basis point or 50 percent, a half a percent basis cut, yet to be determined, but that all weighing on the markets, good and bad. All right, this is Mike from Zozo Stockwatch. That's your Let's Get Ready for the Week Ahead. I hope you're more ready for the week ahead than you were before. We'll be out with another video later on this Sunday. Some stocks I'm watching for Monday and for the week. Each night we do a stocks to watch video. We talk about the markets and some stocks that might be in play each and every day. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll be back at it with another video. This is Mike from ZoZoStockWatch.com.